Our next presenter is not afraid of any task connected to coaching or HR, and on a daily basis she works as a head of coaching and mentoring. She's with us for the second time, and this year she will tell us how to find the balance and still be yourself as a woman in IT. Personally, I have to admit that I really love her speeches, which are always very inspiring. From Budapest, let's welcome Bori Molnár.
Thanks for the warm introduction, Alina, and I hope I can meet your expectations. So let's talk about balance, women, and how to be yourself. In the next couple of minutes, I'm going to share with you some personal examples, some people who have inspired me, and actually also talk about some inspiration from the external world. Not ET, not virtual, no extraterrestrials, just television and TV series. So if you look at this picture, you probably can empathize with this. This is how some mornings begin for all of us. We feel blah, we feel tired, exhausted, probably exhausted also with all the virtual meetings that we have to attend. It's not unnatural, by the way. Many people resonate with us. And I'm going to share some tricks and something that has worked for me in the last couple of months to overcome this feeling. And yes, I will share with you another picture of another bug when we come to the end of this presentation. So think about the external world and what kind of influences you have had in the last couple of months, actually almost the last 2 years. There have been a lot of factors influencing us, from COVID and the pandemic to working from home, some of us being in lockdown for a shorter period of time, some maybe for several months in certain parts of the world. Our worry and anxiety about work, workload, the financial situation. We have also been worrying about our family, depending on whether we have small children or elderly parents or the wider family, and being concerned about their health. Lastly, if you think about the next couple of months where we hear, or we will be hearing a lot about climate change, that has probably also affected you, especially if you belong to the younger generation, worrying about how the temperature is increasing. So a lot of things that have influenced us. And during this period, what we need to be mindful of is that we need our feel-good moments. So I don't think you are alone with thinking that, yes, it has been tough. Let me share with you something that has helped me, and I know several colleagues and friends as well. Does this scene look familiar? What are your first reactions about it? Do you recognize any of the characters, or maybe the scene that is set here? Is your first reaction, oh, Lego figures, and I like playing with Lego? Well, actually, it's a bit of both. The scene is from Central Perk, one of the locations of a very famous TV series, Friends. And those friends, they have become our virtual friends, at least mine, and as I said, also many people I know. You might think, why? Why is that? Well, actually, these virtual friends, and let me show them in flesh and blood almost, they have been people that we can turn to when we feel down, when we need moments of laughter, fun, and relaxation. The atmosphere that they have created throughout the years when Friends was running has been recreated also in a come together a couple of months ago, where the actors made a special 30-minute scene, and they were sharing those moments, how they felt gratitude coming together again, because they are friends also in the real life. So why is this important? Well, I'll come back to this in a minute. Before that, I would also like to share with you some other topics that I'd like to talk about in the next couple of minutes. I mentioned the impact that COVID, uncertainty, anxiety, and all the changes that we have going through have had on us. We have also felt on our own skin and brain the health issues. Probably someone in your close environment has also faced some kind of depression, maybe spoken about it out loud or trying to hide it. But pretty sure that mental health has been showing its importance in your environment. Therefore, it has become more important than ever to reach out to friends and family, or likewise also be there as support for your friends and family. And for this, to be able to show the support, you need those virtual friends to feel good yourself. So don't be afraid if you feel that you need those moments when you just laze about, when you relax, when you switch off totally. It's not a distraction. It's where you can regain your energy and become creative, dynamic, and connected again. And I'm not the one who has come up with these wide words, but Adam Grant, who is a motivational speaker, an organizational psychologist, an author of very famous books, very popular, and he lectures at Wharton University. So if he says that we need our moments of blah and languishing, I think we can calmly listen to him and take his words for granted. So with these words, let me continue to the world of Friends and how they have helped us find our balance. I mentioned Friends, and actually not only the series Friends has had an impact on many people around the world who have gone back to maybe their teenage or younger period of time when they were watching the series on a frequent basis. Two similar series that have made me feel good and have led me to some laughter are the Big Bang Theory and All Creatures Great and Small. Big Bang Theory is something that I think many women in IT can resonate with because it clearly has the connection to science. Think about physics, biology, chemistry, outer space. All Creatures Great and Small is something that I love as a story as well, written originally by a veterinarian who worked in the Yorkshire Dales in the 30s and 40s. And his story has influenced many filmmakers, many producers to put together films or TV series. This last one, that the image I'm using, is a series that was created by BBC. Some of the shots were done during the lockdown, and I'm looking forward to when the TV series will be accessible again in my home country, because I felt these people almost like family members. It was a very warm atmosphere that they could create when watching them. Not only is the atmosphere, the feeling important that we see in these TV series, but we can actually learn from Friends and the Big Bang Theory, as well as All Creatures Great and Small. And I'm pretty sure you have your own favorite TV series that you feel similarly about. What we can learn besides science and how to cope with life in general are human skills that are very important within NOKIA for us. And if you're thinking about joining NOKIA in the future or happen to be a NOKIA colleague, I'm sure you understand the importance of these. There are certainly conflicts among these friends. When one of them is facing a difficult situation, others chip in, be it a financial difficulty, something to do with their love life, or something practical like the electricity is not working or somebody has to move out. How these friends help each other is a great example of teamwork and collaboration, which are very important in NOKIA. We can also learn from them about relationship management, that it's sometimes up, it's sometimes down, and they also care about each other. Last but not least, the wit and the sense of humor that they represent in these series is something that we can learn from, because humor helps us overcome challenging times as well. Besides this atmosphere and what we can learn from them, the female figures in both Friends and Big Bang Theory have a strong influence, also on us, but also on the younger generation. So children or teenagers who watch these series probably became fascinated with science. If their favorite character was Amy or Bernadette, they maybe, I'm making this a quotation mark, got interested in music, playing the guitar and singing about cats through Phoebe. Maybe they became interested in cooking because of Monica's hobby and work, actually. And I would also like to mention that these female figures, the fact that I'm showing them in a Lego format, also has a special message. You see probably at the bottom of this slide that I'm referring to Lego's commitment to breaking away from gender bias and stereotypes. This is also strongly represented in these role models, and also what Lego has done. If we think back to the past, already in the 1980s, Lego was very vocal about not making a distinction between girls and boys, what they play with and how they play. Little girls who played with Lego bricks maybe dreamed of becoming architects or engineers. Maybe they dreamed of becoming astronauts or creating the next spaceship. And most recently, Lego, with their Friends theme, not the TV series, but the actual Lego figures in a special story, also decided that they would break away from the colors that have a connection to stereotypes. So less pink and more generic colors. Lego has been followed as an example by another toy maker. And remember that toys also have a great impact on small children. Mattel, which was known for its Barbie dolls back in the 60s and 70s, Barbie dolls who didn't really resemble real women a lot, also made a big change a couple of years ago. They started producing dolls which look like real women. They are no longer having such measures that never show up in reality. And they are also creating dolls who become maybe astronauts or are everyday working mums who are facing the everyday challenges in real life. So from friends to Lego and Mattel, role models, let's move to studies, facts, and recent publications. What we have been paying attention to are several influences of us on working from home, not meeting colleagues, not having the ability to meet at the coffee machine, for example. Studies produced by very well-known companies like McKinsey or institutions like the World Economic Forum prove as a fact that mental health and our work-life balance have been impacted by the fact that we work from home quite a lot, or we are afraid of commuting back to the office. And it's not just the health-related concerns, but will I be able to face my colleagues on a day-to-day basis again? Am I ready to give up that hour that I use now to get to the office? It very much sounds like we are looking for a balance also here, finding a perfect solution. And that's why flexible working or hybrid working has become so important. NOKIA has also been a pioneer in this area with our own surveys. There was a period where every month we received a survey asking us how we were doing, whether we were coping as individuals and what challenges we were facing, and the company did its best to support us. I will talk a little bit later about how this has been achieved. Studies also show us, and this is also represented in some of the articles I have brought forward, that the technological trends, the Industry 4.0, the move to artificial intelligence, to machine learning, to automation also have an influence on us. Many of us are concerned about how this is going to affect us. Also work life, but privately. Will we miss the human interaction? Just think about when you call up a service desk and there's a robot answering you. How does that make you feel? It's probably something that is becoming normal, but you may think, how is that going to impact my career? So rest assured, human skills will be needed also in the future, maybe slightly different human skills. And despite the fact that automation is here to stay with us and artificial intelligence is used for absolutely fantastic purposes as well, we should also remind ourselves that we need to keep on learning. We need to be digitally savvy, follow the technical trends, and also be ready to do more analysis. Think about all the fake news that we have read about vaccination, also related to politics. We need to be smart and be ready to read between the lines. We need to be ready to solve complex problems, but also, and again, my connection to friends, be ready to interact with each other, collaborate, be ready for teamwork, coach each other, empower each other, and support each other. So definitely human skills will be needed. And for this, self-awareness is definitely needed. So again, I'm referring to McKinsey, and believe me, I'm not paid to advertise McKinsey here. This is purely for the purpose of setting an example. I would like to highlight two things that they talk about: the self-leadership and the interpersonal skills. These are vital in today's world. And some of these that I would like to emphasize are, again, collaboration, empowerment, so that we feel independent enough to do our work, but work together with others. And the self-awareness, understanding our strengths, our motivators, and ensuring that what we do makes us satisfied, that we find our purpose in what we do, also when it comes to work. So the self-motivation is also something that is very crucial. Besides these, the upskilling and reskilling, which is required in almost all companies, is something that students of today should also be aware of. So if you think that when you leave university, you don't need to carry on learning, please put that thought behind you and rest assured you will need to carry on learning. Continuous learning is something that is very important. And in NOKIA, we talk about a learning culture. It's natural. One word that I'm missing from McKinsey, what I believe is very important, is curiosity. If you remain curious and you are hungry for news and like reading up on what's happening in the external world, you will also find a natural way of learning and upskilling yourself. Besides learning, there are other things that help us also getting prepared for the future. And actually, I would like to share with you what has helped deal with COVID, uncertainty, changes. Certainly, the attention to well-being and mental health has been the trend in many companies, as well as in NOKIA. I was talking about Adam Grant and his article about languishing, or the blah that we feel. What NOKIA introduced recently was a recharge day, a day for ourselves. So not for work, not dedicated to your family, not just to carry on fixing your chores. You think about all the tasks that you never have time to do, and that's when you want to fix it. No, it's a recharge day for you to refill your batteries and do something fun. You need to be well. Mentally and physically as well. And that's why it's good and reassuring to see that so many companies are also focusing on this well-being that will help us perform better and be ready for the change. So one of the factors that is very important is sleep, but besides sleep, you also need food. And interestingly enough, the importance of food has increased, at least in my environment, my friends, my colleagues. We talk a lot more about food, and we watch probably much more videos about cooking. And I'm not going to mention any of the famous chefs here, simply because we are fascinated by what is created, and we're looking forward to the next meal that we are going to have together with our friends. Come to that, friends. Do you remember when Rachel prepared her very special trifle and the cookbook pages stuck together? Well, there was also a fun moment, and it's become almost anecdotal, this story. So I hope you don't try to recreate her English trifle. Keep to the desserts, and before that, prepare your meat dish. By the way, do you know this expression, I'm just grazing, which I became aware of during lockdown? It's what you do when you are working or studying at home for several hours, and you feel a little bit peckish, you're looking for some snacks to eat. And in a good situation, you go for the nuts or the fruits. But maybe you are drawn also to the chocolate. Nothing wrong with that, because dark chocolate is also very healthy for you. But just remember that with that additional energy, you also need to be taking care of your physical health. So certainly exercise can help. And each of us find different type of exercises working well for us. Some of us like doing yoga or gymnastics or start climbing the wall, not literally speaking, of course, or should I say literally speaking rather than not just metaphorically. What I found really enjoyable was music, singing, dancing. And I saw just this morning one of my colleagues posting about this in our internal Yammer post, how important music and singing are for her. Another important thing is to ensure that you take breaks during difficult days. And breaks can also mean a long weekend or a holiday. Many of us find it very difficult to switch off, even during holidays. It's important that you find your way of switching off. So try to discover what works for you and make sure that you spend that time well. Make sure that you find the way to recharge. So I'm going to share with you nothing really secret, but something more personal about what we have been doing to recharge ourselves. Actually, it turns out that having pets is very helpful. So this is one of our pets. We have cats. And yes, she is resting on the holder for my headset, close to the mouth. Probably not intentional, and this is not a pun. And I also wanted to share with you two pictures. You probably recognize Alina with her pug on the right-hand side, and on the left-hand side, I'm with one of my cats, Lottie, who has helped me relax after a long day. Science says that the purring of cats, or when dogs make small noises while maybe they are snoring and are asleep, are very good to get us rid of our stress. So if you have pets, use them this way. And of course, if you have a dog, go for a long walk. That will certainly also make you much healthier. So from pets and our personal story to last pun, how many of you know what Chandler's real job is? He carries a suitcase and sometimes he wears very elegant suits. Well, one thing I can recommend, which is also something fun to watch, is the Graham Norton show on BBC. And again, I don't get paid for advertising this, but I really find those shows very enjoyable, especially because they laugh a lot. Well, if you watch the series with Chandler or Matthew Perry appearing on the Graham Norton show, I'm sure you will discover what his real job is. And yes, it does have to do with some science, like data, statistics, analytics. So what is my closing message to you? Make sure that you pay attention to your health, be it your physical well-being or your mental health. Try to find your balance, use the time well, and don't forget, even if you don't have the opportunity to meet your real friends on a frequent basis, you can still reach out to virtual friends. Thank you for your attention. Goodbye.
Thanks, Bori. Even my dog is really happy to be a part of this conference. So thank you for this amazing speech.